Today is a very significant day, the 13th anniversary of what is popularly believed to be Jon Nödtveidt's suicide, but what really was Jon Nödtveidt's final attainment on his path towards spiritual liberation in chaos, which implies eternal death to the realm of limited cosmos, but is tantamount to eternal life in the realm of limitless chaos. How is it different from simply taking one's life or fucking one's life up to the point where it ends prematurely will be now explained in the light of religious tradition, even if briefly and focusing on exoteric aspects of this tradition mainly. So the right-hand path, or Dakshinachara, is in general terms a path of obedience to the creator deity and seeking communion with it by means of many existing so-called white light religions, which are only seemingly different from one another. And while it is an easy definition, it is generally accepted. Still, it doesn't give us any answer as to what the left-hand path, or Vamachara, is, because if we stand on a purely materialistic position, then the left-hand path simply means disobedience to the dogmas and institutions personified by creator deity, and if any destructor deity is involved, it's involved as merely and simply a personification of this individualistic disobedience, like for instance in case of pseudo-Satan of LaVeyan pseudo-Satanism. But to those who have the eyes or the eye to see, a completely different truth is revealed. That is, the truth underlying the true left-hand path, the path of ultimate spiritual rebellion and genuine alchemical transmutation. Namely, the creator deity is not symbolic of dogmas restricting you. In fact, it is not symbolic at all. It is the force actually forming those dogmas, matter and all that is concrete, cosmic and causal, as opposed to the primordial pan-dimensional universe that was formless, acosmic and acausal. So the destructor deity is anti-cosmic as opposed to cosmic creator deity, and it serves the purpose of bringing the pneuma, the primary substance, back to its original acosmic state. The yoginic tradition knows the process of achieving the causal state under the name of Mahasamadhi, or the great and final meditative absorption. A person who has reached the state of Mahasamadhi is living purposely and consciously his or her body, which is something different than death. But how does this personal attainment of being finally absorbed or dissolved contribute to anything more than a personal individual eschatological goal? Well, Mahasamadhi is a stage. It is final only in scale of one person, mind you. It is a part of continuous process where life implies death and one implies other. Achieving the state of Mahasamadhi is often preceded by many years of continuous spiritual practices, such as Yidam most notably. Yidam is a common name for the group of deities that make it possible for their sincere devotees to achieve the awakened state. The choice of a particular Yidam deity or set of those is based on the call that one receives. Yidam is also the name of the practice itself, where a practitioner becomes a vessel for a deity, because this is what the awakened state means. You awaken from the illusions of your ego. You let these illusions die. And then your mind stream and the mind stream of your Yidam deity are no longer divisible. You become one with the other. A sincere devotee will undertake activities involved in this practice with the right persistence until the results become permanent, that is, until he or she becomes a vessel permanently, a vessel through which the mind stream of a deity flows freely, and manifest for whatever purpose it finds right, uninterrupted by the falsifications of a devotee's ego. From external points of observation, it may appear as destruction of personality or fucking up one's life. This is because embodying what is called an archetype means being literally possessed by it, which does fuck you up on this regular good old Joe level. Community, whether big or small, can grow to hate you. I will now provide in support of the above and below some rather extensive quotations from Miguel Serrano, who in turn sums up the essence of Jungian understanding of archetypes, which are in turn conceptual successors of Platonic ideas. All of these things correspond quite well with the nature of Yidam deities. Number 1.
It is the mystery of the archetype, something like an external idea, that arrives and takes hold of a human being, or more than one at the same time, preserving itself in a collective unconsciousness, that occasionally becomes collective consciousness, thanks to the sacrifice of man that has been possessed, and that, in his utmost state of trance, or when he speaks ex cathedra, no longer refers to himself as me but as us. And he says, us, the Pope, wishing to affirm that he is one with the archetype and that he speaks for everybody.
Number 2.
When the archetype has accomplished his missions here, on Earth, fulfilling his purpose, the secondary guides are left without energy, so to speak, without a possible destiny, and they become lost or they end up like an empty casket, sometimes in sad conditions like the case of Von Meres. We have said that the archetype is something like a Platonic idea that seems to hang around the atmosphere of the earth and is apprehended by the collective unconsciousness of human beings, thanks to the sacrifice of one human being, which due to his genes, or his karma, is worthy of being possessed.
Number 3.
Generally, this man lives a short life, consumed by an internal fire. In compensation, the myth and the legend project him beyond his time.
Of course, the fuller the vessel is of the will of the Yidam deity, the emptier it is of ego, karma, or anything socially or humanly conditioned as well. Just like a mother, faced with the necessity of breaking any laws and or sacrificing herself, will do as necessary to save her child, so will a devotee do if he or she is faced with similar necessity while acting on behalf of the deity. So people may speak of reasonability of doing this and unreasonability of doing the other, but they'd better remain silent. For although a devotee is still an individual, his individual purpose is now aligned with that of the deity, and the latter is a great mystery to human reason. Same goes for the moral judgment by other humans. They may go as far as imprisonment or physical elimination of a devotee, but it will not cause any major change for the devotee, let alone the deity. Among the Yidam deities of particular interest for a left-hand path practitioner are for instance the wrathful Herukas of Vajrayana pantheon, the anti-cosmic glyphotic entities, the Sumerian adversarial deities, and the Devas rejected by the Zoroastrian canon, all of these being dangerous entities. They will at least leave you in the condition of an empty shell if you break an oath you have taken, or somehow fail while attempting Mahasamadhi. But they will lead you by the hand through the abyss, and elevate you towards eternity if you withstand the trial, and the latter is the case with Jon Nödtveidt. Dissection was not one of countless musical bands that use weak occult imagery to attract stupid kids. It was created and used by a long-time left-hand path Yidam practitioner as a diary, a magical tool for his further attainment, and an extra vessel through which the energies of the wrathful gods filling his existence were channeled to spread even further in countless directions. and these sonic sigils are still charged with these energies. Rain Cow's album was a culmination of the fascinating artistic development inspired in this way, outshining many equally sincere things because of the advancement of magical work within the system of MLO that Jon Nödtveidt had by that time reached. And what happened next has already been briefly explained, and going any further in this video is purposeless. If you get it, you will get it. Just like the meaning of 13th card of the Tarot, which is death, goes beyond physical death, so does the event we should commemorate today go beyond physical death. For today is the 13th anniversary of Jon Nödtveidt's Mahasamadhi, and we should not be sad. Those who have met Jon Nödtveidt in his last days among the living testify that he was more focused, happier, and stronger than ever, and the empty space he left behind was filled with the dark essence that he manifested through his life and black magical work. Apart from this video, I also publish my performance of a piece of music originally by Dissection. It goes under a very telling title, Into Infinite Obscurity.